ever since it's happened. Tobias Chanji, good morning. It's 1 week after this third incident happened. We expect new divers tomorrow on location and equipment. Is there hope that finally Mr. Wambua will have his family for burial?
Very good morning, Brenda. It's actually the 9th day that the search is continuing. And remember, on Saturday, we were told that we'll be having some experts from South Africa who were supposed to jet in yesterday and to the second batch to be entering in the country today, then to start the operations as of tomorrow. But speaking to the managing director of the Kenya Ferry Service, that's Bakari Goa, some few minutes ago, he said they haven't received any information of the arrival of the South Africans. Remember, on a Friday, we had the Swedish expert who was also one of the major people who joined the Kenyan Navy in searching of the bodies and the car. And what he said is that there was potential of an object inside the water, but now the probability of that object being a car was 40%. So they've zeroed in four locations that they say they might see either the bodies or even the car, or the bodies locked inside the car. Out of these four bodies, according to the government spokesperson, it's so hectic because of the visibility, and it might take another 4 days. Remember, Brenda, this has been happening daily here. We've been seeing interruptions of the ferry, but right now the ferry is continuing as usual, as normal, and according to the government, they'll be giving us an update of maybe what will be happening today as they zero in those four locations. Now, just behind me, you can see we have big ships with just people dressed in white. Those are Navy officials, but not from Kenya. It's Indian Navy together with the Indian Coast Guard. And the arrival here is not related in any way in what's happening, but it is an exchange program together with the Kenyan Navy. I understand they'll be offering some free medical camp here, and they've been inviting the public to come and witness. Maybe it's also a chance for the Kenyan Navy maybe to get lessons or ideas on matters safety as we proceed on with this activity of searching for the bodies of Mariam Kigenda and her daughter Amanda, who plunged the waters on Sunday last week. Remember also on Saturday we had the CS for transport, that is James Macharia, together with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who had stopped the dredging activities to continue on. But as we're speaking, the dredging has been happening since then. There's been an argument that because of that dredging, the dredging has affected even the visibility of the water due to the muddy underwater, therefore making it even more harder to find these bodies or even the car. Brenda.
All right, and Chanji, you're talking about, a possibility of having spotted the vehicle, 40% possibility that might be the vehicle that, Mariam Kigenda and her daughter Amanda Mutheu are in. And which begs the question, because we've also heard from political leaders in the coastal region, especially we had, from one of the female members of parliament from the coastal region, urging President Uhuru Kenyatta to actually cancel that, public event, the celebrations that are supposed to happen in Mombasa, so that these bodies can be retrieved.
No, as we are speaking right now, the preparations for the Mashujaa Day are continuing. We've seen a number of Navy soldiers just in a parade, and therefore it means this preparation is in top gear, and we're not sure if the government can call them off any time from now. But what I understand through the government spokesperson, that is retired Colonel Oguna, he said they are going to do anything possible to make sure that these bodies have been retrieved before the Mashujaa Day celebration. They've given it 4 days starting yesterday, meaning that yesterday they mapped up one of the locations, and maybe today they'll be doing the second one, then thereafter they'll be remaining with other two locations. So it has been an outcry for not only from the members of parliament, but also even from the residents and the citizens of Mombasa, who were saying that if the president will not call off the Mashujaa Day celebrations, then most of them will not go for those celebrations. And remember, it's only about the ferry. Today we're also going to witness major disruptions in the town as a section of the human rights organization and also businessmen doing a major demonstrations against the SGR, and most of them they're also saying that they'll boycott the Mashujaa Day celebrations. So there are two issues here that if they are not considered early enough, then we might witness maybe a few people turning up for the Mashujaa Day celebrations. Brenda.
All right, and Chanji, you're talking about, interruption of the ferry services in Likoni. So what is the other alternative, for members of the public who are moving from one side of the coastal region to the other side, to the Mombasa, town? Because it means then majority of them, the businesses have to be affected. Probably those who are traveling using the airlines have to, cancel their flights.
Most definitely, if there are those interruptions, then, because the only other option is by people using the Kwale Kinango Samburu Road, which is about 100 kilometers, and the only part of it, there's a half of it that has been tarmacked. The other part is Maram Road. So that's the only option, because remember that there's also the issue of the other bypass, the Dongo Kundu bypass, which is only about 75% complete. The other issue that have been talked about several times is the issue of cable, but it is still a dream that has not been realized. But as we know, the Kenyan government also secured some grant from the Japanese government, that is 88 billion shillings, about 46 billion shillings to them. It's what will be used to constructing an overhead bridge that maybe will ease the crossing over between the Mombasa mainland and the Mombasa island. But until then people just have to do with the strenuous crossing over between the two channels. Brenda.
We had reports that the team from South Africa is expected to, part of the team arrived yesterday. We expect another team to arrive today, the team of divers, so that they can have a meeting and the retrieval exercise to, begin tomorrow. So what do you expect to happen today if the recovery exercises continue to happen? If it is expected to happen today, the team that will be, inside that Indian Ocean?
That's what we were told. But as we were speaking, the searching is proceeding with the members of the soldiers, divers from the Kenyan Navy. But we were told the South African divers or experts will be coming in. They were supposed to be here by yesterday, and another batch should have arrived today. But as I said a few minutes ago, I spoke to the MD, Bakari Goa. I also spoke to the Kenya Ferry Services chairperson, that is Dan Mwazo. And both of them say they're not aware if the South Africans have arrived or not. Even the one that was supposed to arrive yesterday. Remember, the South Africans have been called by family members because there's a cash that Governor Hassan Joho gave out to the family members, the cash of around 2 million shillings that the family should be using to secure the services of the South Africans. But as of today, there's no any whereabouts of any South African experts who have arrived here. And so currently those that are proceeding with the search, it's only a group of the Kenya Navy that's continuing, and they're still mapping out the locations that were identified on Friday between them and the Swedish experts. As I said, they said there is an object, but the probability of that object turning out to be a car, it's 40%. Remember, they've been doing this through the magnetic sensor. So sometimes maybe it can just be a metal, or it can pass out to be something else apart from the car that plunged in.
Thank you so much, Tobias Chanji, for that detailed report. I believe you'll continue giving us an update as and when you get them. Day 9 of the recovery exercise, and the bodies of Mariam Kigenda and her daughter Amanda Mutheu are yet to be recovered. And you've just heard from a reporter that a team